are going to talk about the famous USA, isn't it right, Jack?
Yes, it is, Thomas. Today we are going to talk about economy, history, future and much more about USA. So let's begin with Joanne. Are you there, Joanne?
Yes, Jack, I am listening to you. So like you know, the USA has a strong economy based mostly around the industry and service. The country gross internal product is the world's highest and grows faster than its population, making their growth per capita one of the world's greatest. The United States of America is the world's third largest country after Russia and Canada, and also the world's leading industrial power. Their agriculture is centered on the production of cereal, fruit, vegetable, cotton, livestock and other products. The USA industry is highly diversified and technologically advanced. The agricultural techniques used in the USA have caused several environmental disasters that have led to the increasing development of agriculture through technology in an attempt to make it more environment-friendly and productive. The country has substantial supply of oil, natural gas, and other important research. The mining industry, well developed, consists mainly in the extraction of gold, iron and copper. United States is one of the world's leading producers. The country is also among the major world producers for mica, barite, sulfur and feldspar. And that's it. Jack, I am finished here.
Thanks, Joanne. Now that you know more about the USA economy, let's talk about its population, isn't that, Andrew?
You could be so right. Let's hear what Marta has to say about it.
Hi, Jack. Well, the population in the United States is an estimated 298 million and 700,000 inhabitants, giving the country the approximate population density of 3.4 people per square kilometer. It is expected that in 2025 the population will reach 331 million people. Around 75% of these are white, 12% are black, 10% are Hispanic, 3% are Asian, and less than 1% are of Indian or Eskimo descent. The Protestant Church is the largest, consisting of 53% of the population. The Catholic Church comes in second with 26%. Although there is no official language, it is considered by default to be English. The second most important language in the United States, especially nowadays, is Spanish. Bye, Jack.
Thanks, Marta. So many people in a single country, don't you think so, Jack?
Yes, it's a huge number of people. Let's finish this and let's talk about USA history. I love history, so I'm gonna talk about it. In 1565, Spanish explorers searching for a legendary fountain of eternal youth founded the town of St. Augustine, Florida, the first permanent European settlement in North America. Almost a century later, the French explored the Mississippi Basin and named Louisiana. It was the British, Dutch and Germans who most persistently colonized the territory along the east coast. The first British settlement, Jamestown, was founded in 1607 and now belongs to the state of Virginia. 13 years later, a British ship called the Mayflower arrived in modern-day Plymouth, Massachusetts, bringing aboard a group of Puritans that were fleeing religious persecutions back in Europe. Around this time, cotton and tobacco plantations were established in the south of territory that called for an increase in the number of slaves being brought over from America. New York, New Jersey and Delaware were taken from the Dutch by the British in 1664. In 1732, the British already owned 13 colonies on the east coast. In 1741, the Russians crossed the Bering Strait into Alaska to colonize the region. In 1773, the colonial firm resolved to govern their own country gave rise to the famous Boston Tea Party Rebellion, when a group of patriots masked as natives 342 tea crates belonging to the British Company of Western Indies overboarding Boston Harbor, as protest against the oppressive taxes and lack of representation for the colonies in the British Parliament. This act was the first step towards independence. On July 4th of 1776, while King George III of England wrote the ironic passage of his diary, "Nothing important happened today," 13 colonies proclaimed the creation of the United States of America through the Declaration of Independence, which was signed by several great politicians and thinkers of today's Independence Hall, Philadelphia. This declaration also originated in the 1787 Constitution, instituting the Federal Republic and separating the executive, legislative, and judicial powers. In 1789, after leading the United States to a glorious victory over the British in the War of Independence and rejecting dictatorial powers, George Washington became the first president of the USA.
You know a lot about USA history, Jack, but I would like to talk about the World Wars. May I?
Sure, go for it.
In 1895, Cuba rebelled against Spanish colonialism, and 3 years later, the USA supported the country against Spain, resulting in the Spanish-American War. The North American victory gave the Union its first territories abroad: the Philippines, Puerto Rico, and Guam. American troops occupied Cuba until its independence in 1992. In 1917, the USA was decisive in giving the Allies their victory in World War I. Still, economic recovery was only possible when World War II began. The Japanese attack on an American base in Pearl Harbor in December 70 in 1941 led the USA to join the war alongside the United Kingdom and the Soviet Union, facing the axis of Nazi Germany, Fascist Italy, and the Empire of Japan. From that moment on, the country became a major world power, both from a political and from an economical point of view.
Very good, well, I think we are finished here.
Now, you that are listening to our show should know more a lot about USA.
So now we'll make you a few questions to you that were viewing our show.